Hey, welcome back. So this is the fifth video. Last video we did UVs, and this video we're going to take a look at making some custom materials using some imagery for textures. Okay, and this should be the last video. Again, this is an introductory series. I'm going to get a little bit into doing some custom nodes in Unreal, or not Unreal, but in Maya, showing you some of the materials and some of the nodes and how you can create things. So that should get us started, I think. And let's go ahead and start the project. All right, so again, we're going to, I'm assuming that you're just now opening Maya. I want to drive home that we're going to open it. We're going to set our project. We're going to pick the current project we're working on. And then we're going to go ahead and open a scene. And this scene that we've been working on. I'm not going to save the blank one there. And now, here we are with our ant. Okay. And I think the first thing we're going to do is talk about where we can get some textures. Okay, and there's actually several places out there that we can find some textures. And let's see here. Let's go to Texturescom as one of them. We can get some free textures from there. And then I'm going to open up another one, and we're going to type in HDRI. And it should be HDRIhaven.com. And what this is these are HDRIs. They're 360-degree imagery that can be used inside a sky sphere or a dome. But also from here we can get to, if we hover over here on the left-hand side, right here, Texture Haven. I'm going to use my middle mouse button, click on that, and open that up in a third window there. Okay. Now, we're going to start back here on textures.com. You'll need to get an account, so you have to create an account, okay? And basically you get 15 free credits per 24 hours. And then you can come in here and download different textures. There are different types of textures in here. At the top, there's these PBR materials, 3D object scans, and things like that. These are the ones I'm going to want to use this time because we're going to get a little bit in depth into creating a material. But if you're just looking for basic materials, so say we wanted to put something on our ground, and maybe something like gravel, right? And then there's all kinds of different gravel choices. You can click on here, and you can find these textures. And basically, these textures are just this one image. This one happens to be JPEG. And then they have these different sizes on them. Seamless means that basically they'll wrap together and it'll look like there is no seam in them, and they'll continue on, and that's kind of a nice thing. But we're not going to use this type of material. Basically what we want to do is, like I said, we're going to use something that's called a PBR, okay? And PBR materials, the difference with those is, let me find ground again. Is there a ground one on here? Floors, plaster, plastic roads. So, what am I looking for here? Rock. I don't know, maybe rock. All right, so similar to what we had before, it's like the sandy soil. If I click on this, basically what it is this one comes with that color map like the other one did, but they also have additional maps that can be used to bring out more detail and depth in your model. And these would be a normal map. This one is the roughness map. A height map, we're not really going to use that in Maya, so we can save some points for that. And then ambient occlusion. I am going to show you how to use ambient occlusion because there isn't actually a node plugin for ambient occlusion map, but we can use it, and I'll show you how to do that. So this is the type of stuff that we want to use. Okay, so we're going to use a PBR. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find something for my ant to be walking on for my ground, since I'm already in ground, kind of a ground material here for rocks. And pretty much whatever you feel like doing, you can grab. And you know what, maybe I'll just go ahead and use that sand one after all. I'll use the sand one. So the way to download it, once you have an account, you can come in here and pick these different maps. We're going to skip the height map. No reason to waste a credit on that one. And we're going to end up using 4 credits as it is for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and download this simply by clicking on it. And it's going to ask me what I want to do. I'm going to save it. Okay. And I'm going to get the 10 by 24 one for all of these. And I'm going to skip that one again, like I said. And then let me go ahead and download that one, okay? And they also have flat maps, which we're not going to use this time around. Okay. So with those, we're going to go ahead and leave those in my downloads folder. Okay. And now I'm going to find a material that I'm going to use for my ant's body. And, you know, there isn't something in here that says ant's body. There are also some 3D scans. 3D scans, if we jump in there real quick, we have some other choices as well. There's this one called leather. There's metal and rust, which may have been under the PBR as well. Yeah, metal, ferrous and non-ferrous, metal plates. So they kind of approach them a little bit differently. Oh, there were some nature ones too. And there was the pebbles and rocks there. So, okay. So you can look around and kind of find something that works for you. I am going to also jump into 3D scans because the 3D scans will work very similarly. And what I'm going to do is I am going to, I think I'm going to look at some metal and rust because I want kind of a rough texture on my ant body. And this rust 1B. Now we can modify the color as well, and I'll show you how to modify the color once it's on our model. Just a little bit. So I'm going to select this plain rust 1B, I think. Or you know what? This one's kind of interesting too. Crumpled rust. Let me do that. And again, it's the same process. We should have several different maps. And this one, that's here, height, seamless, normal, and roughness. This one doesn't have an AO, but that's okay. We don't need it. I got one where I can show you the process. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to download these. Say OK. Download. OK. Now again, you only have 15 credits, so since we're spending 4 of these, and I don't know why I just wasted one on a height map. Don't do the height map like I just did. That's a waste of a credit. You don't need to waste it on that because we're not going to use it right now. Okay, so there we go. I've got those all downloaded here into my downloads folder. So usually what I do is I also have a folder that I've created for putting textures in, and it's under my 3D models. So a texture folder, there it is. And this is where I start creating some folders for it. I have a couple of these spread across a couple different hard drives. I really need to compile them. So I'm going to create a new folder, and one of these is a sandy beach. And then the other one is crumpled rust. Okay, so now you're probably wondering why I'm doing this, because I'm not actually going to pull them from here, but I want to save these because you just spent some points on them, right? So you want to make sure you can always access these later on and you have a place to keep them. Now that I've done that, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to go into my project And that's not it. Ant class, there we go. So here is my project folder. And remember we have source images in there? So I'm going to open that up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to this up folder here. I'm going to select my sandy beach. And I'm also going to hold the control button and select crumpled rust. I'm going to right click, copy. And I'm going to put those upper folders into my source images. Okay. So now they're in my source images and they're in a folder, so I know exactly what they are and I can go in and find them nice and easily. So now I can close this, close out my downloads folder. And we don't really need this open, but I'll just leave it there to reference it later. Okay, so now we've got that. The next thing we want to do is we're going to create a sky dome. And that's what HDRI Haven is about. But let me jump over here to Texture Haven. Let me close this. Texture Haven is another site where you can get free textures. And these are all free. There is no limit. You can download them. And again, these are very high resolution scans. Okay. And you can download them all at once. And they come out really nice. But they don't have a large selection like Texture Haven does. So you can come in here, score some pretty good stuff for free, and then put it away, save it for when you might need it, and then you always check back. But you can see that they have a total of 218, whereas Texture Haven has thousands. So all right, then let's go to HDRI Haven. These are again 360-degree. Basically scenes that you were going to use inside a sphere, so we're going to use these inside of our sky dome, inside of Maya. And what I want is one that looks like a beach, so because I'm using beach sand, so let's just go ahead and do a search and see if there's a beach one in here. Alright, so we got some beach ones to choose from, and the color of the sand was something kind of like that. I'll go ahead and pick this one. Alright, so this one, we can go down here, and there are different scale or different size or detail level, 1K, 2K, 4K. Sometimes I'll use the 2K, but it comes out a little blurry. So unless your computer struggles, I would recommend trying the 4K and see how that works. 8K, 16K, very high resolution, but it may take longer to render and slow things down. So that's up to you on that decision. I'm going to go ahead and again download that one, and I close all those folders out like a genius. So let me go ahead and go back to my Sandy Beach one. Go up to, okay, that's my source images. That's nice. That's not what I wanted. Let's see here. Now, since I got this open, I'll just go ahead and jump in there real quick. Go back to my D drive, into my 3D models, into my textures, and I have one that says HDRI. I'm going to open up my downloads folder here. Open the HDRI one, put that in there, right click, I'm going to copy it, and then you guessed it, it's going to go into my source images. So now I have my HDRI in there, my different textures for that. Okay, and I'll just leave that open. Alright, so we can go ahead and close this out now. Just keep those in mind for when you need textures. All right, so back here to our ant, okay? So what we're going to do is we've already created some of the images that we want, right? So let's go ahead and go into our or not images, but materials. So I'm going to click on a Hypershader. We have these materials right here, okay? And we're going to start with the one that says ant body. So right here, if you have something in your work area, we're going to go ahead and clear that out, and I am going to grab the ant body, put that in here, And what I want to do is I'm going to want to find my folder here. Take a look at what I'm going to use, which is the crumpled rust. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. We're not using the height map, so we got 4 of these maps. Okay. So what I want to do is right here under where it says create, it says 2D textures. I'm going to click on that, and right here it says file. I'm going to pull that out. Okay. And I'm going to put this one back up here just a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and do it. Actually, this is the ant body. It doesn't have the AO map, so we're just going to put that one there. Put this one here. Do a third one. Let me see. We got normal, roughness. Oh, we got a metallic. Okay, good. And then we have the texture. All right, so I'm going to do a fourth one here. This one right here is going to go on our normal camera. I'm going to pull that back just a little bit. The reason why is we're going to put another node in here to be able to use that normal map here in Arnold, okay? So right here on Arnold for utility, I'm going to select Arnold utility, and then I'm going to scroll down and see this little purple dot right there? Purple blue thing. Right underneath it is the one I know I want. It was the AI normal map, okay? Not the motion vector, but this AI normal map. I'll pull that out here. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start up here with this, okay? And we're going to put our color map in here. Now, sometimes it's referred to as a diffuse, and sometimes it's referred to as albedo, and sometimes color. So by clicking on the little folder, once we select this file, click on the little folder right here under File Attributes. Okay, there's a little folder, and it's going to open up under your source images because it knows that's where it should be. And since I'm using the crumpled rust, I'm going to find the one that says albedo right there. Okay, and I'm going to open that up. And now what I want to do is I want to connect it. And this out color is going to go to base color right there. Okay. Now we can see that our shader ball is beginning to look like something. It's got a little bit of shiny rust on there. The next thing we want to do is, and I'm taking a look here, and I'm going through this, we have roughness and we have metallic. Okay. So our metalness, which is right here, is where we're going to put this next piece. We're going to click on that node. I'm going to select it again on that folder, and then go into my crumpled rust, and I want to select the one that says metallic, and we say open. Okay. Now this is a little bit different. This color map is sRGB. It's just fine. We're going to leave it alone. But here we're going to select this metalness, and we're going to do a couple things. We're going to ignore the CS files rule, so put a little check mark there. The sRGB, we're going to click that little down arrow, and we're going to scroll down until we find the one that says raw. And then down at the very bottom of that box, it should be alpha is luminous. We're going to click on that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the out alpha, and I'm going to connect it into my metalness. And we should start to see that this now has kind of a metal appearance to it, but it's kind of splotchy, just like that map was, right? Okay, next thing we want to do is we're going to do our roughness map. Okay, so for our roughness map, I know I said it a couple times here, sorry. What we want to do is we're going to select it. We're going to select our little map here again. And again, go in here. And we're going to find the one that says roughness. We're going to open it. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to ignore these rules. We're going to change this to raw. And we're going to make alpha is luminous. Now, for this, we have a couple spots where we could put this roughness, but I'm going to stick it down here on the coat roughness down here, pull my out alpha, and hook it into the coat roughness. We should start seeing things get a little rougher. That's not exactly what I'm looking for. So let's see here. Let's go up to specular roughness. All right, that's where we're going to put this one. We're going to put it, ignore the coat roughness statement I just made. For this one, we're going to take it out and we're going to put it here on specular roughness, and now you can see that the surface area is getting a little rough there, right? It's kind of looking pretty decent. So the last thing we're going to mess around with is down here, and that is our normal map, okay? So this is going to be out color, but first let's select the little node here, click on the folder, let's find our normal map, Okay, and it should be a kind of a bluish map like this. Right, and a normal map is what gives us some lighting features so that it looks and gives us the appearance of 3D. Out color to input, and then out value to normal camera. And over here, again, we're going to ignore the rules, and we're going to go to raw. Okay. And we can use alpha as luminous, and you can see we kind of start getting some things lifted up on there. Okay. So now we've got that kind of set up, and if we take a look back at our ant is looking a little kind of broken. Okay. So let's see here. If you hit 6 on your keyboard, okay, so 5 makes it so that it doesn't look like it has any texture. This is the unshaded version. And then 6 puts our shader on there. Now it doesn't exactly look like what we've put together yet. And the reason for that is because we're not rendering it. Some of the stuff that happens here in this view happens when we render. Okay, so let's go ahead and real quick, let's go ahead and hit this little plus button right there. Okay, and then let's go up here to edit, and we're going to go to create rather, and go down to Arnold Light, and let's go ahead and create an AI sky dome right there. All right, and for that sky dome, should have popped in back there. It did. Over here where it says color on the right hand side, click that little flag right there, and that's going to open up this menu, which is the exact same menu here. Now we could have done it either from here, or we can do it from here. We're going to click on the file, and when we do it this way, it automatically makes those connections for us, so we don't have to make the connections. Now the file that we want, there's nothing in here, so again now we've got this file folder that just popped in. So we're going to go ahead and click on that, and that HDRI that you selected, for my case it's this one, I'm going to go ahead and say open. Okay, and now what should happen is my sky dome should pop in here, and there it is. Okay, so now I have this view around me here. So let's go ahead and take a look to see what our ant looks like. I'm going to hit play. It's going to do a little bit of processing. All right. Now if I zoom in a little bit, you can see that my ant has this kind of weird rusted look to it. Okay. And it kind of gives it this kind of odd look to its body. All right, so that's basically a way to apply some texturing. And of course we can zoom in and get closer to it and see how it looks around the legs and things. You can also put additional lighting in if you wanted to do that, to give your more direct lighting, and we do have to pull some of these lights here, but I'm not going to go through that this time. All right, so and as I move it around, it's still trying to keep up with me in rendering. So we're going to go ahead and stop this render for right now. We've kind of got an idea for what it's going to look like. The next thing I want to do is I want to get into doing the next piece, which is the ground. I'm not going to do anything to the eyes. We're going to leave the eyes just a black material that we put on them. So we can either do it here, or we can, do it in any one of these spots. We've already got our materials set up. I'm going to go ahead and just erase or clear out the work area. And this one right here, I can clear this out too. I'm going to close it. We don't need that open. So in this work area here, I'm going to go up and I'm going to middle mouse click and drag the ground down in here. And I'm going to click on the ground. Okay. The ground doesn't have anything assigned to it yet. And when we take a look at the ground pieces that I selected, if you selected something similar, it's got 4 maps. Okay, one of these is the AO map we talked about, a roughness and a normal map. So we still need 4 of those nodes. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the 2D textures. I'm going to bring in 4 of these. All right, and I'm going to kind of set these up. And I'm going to move them around a little bit. So let's see, this is going to be my normal. I'm going to give myself a little space there. Pull this one up next to this one because we're going to end up connecting those two together. And this one's going to go in this area right here. I believe it was the roughness. Okay, so now what we want to do is we're going to end up getting a composite. So basically to connect these two together, and I need a little bit more space. I'm going to pull this over just a little bit. Those. So what we want is what's called an AI Composite. So if I click here on Utilities and see if I can see it right off the bat. So I don't see it popping up, but up here, if I type in AI Composite, you'll see that one of our choices pops in right there. That's the AI Composite that I want, okay? And what the composite does is it's going to mix these two together for us based on some rules that we tell it that we want. So first, let's go ahead and bring in the maps that we need. Now, this is going to be the AO map. So the ambient occlusion is what AO stands for. So I'm going to click on that little folder again. I'm going to go into my sandy beach, and I'm going to find the one that says AO for ambient occlusion, and I'm going to bring that in. And I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm not going to make any changes here because we're actually going to use the out color on this one. And then on this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click on the folder, go into my sandy beach, and I'm going to find the albedo, okay? And I'm going to put that in there. So out color from the AO one goes here. The out color from the albedo, I'm sorry, this is AO. So this is the AO, this is the albedo. And then for this node right here, if you select the node, click on it, you're going to see over here in the property editor where it says operation, it says over. We're going to multiply. We want to multiply those together. Now we're going to get this kind of different effect. And I'm going to go back here to the base, and I'm going to connect it up to the base right there. Okay, from my, oh, sorry. No, we're going to take the out color, my bad on that one, out color into the base color there. Okay, and it kind of gives us this dark look, but when we go to render, it will work out the way it's supposed to. All right, so the next maps that we have are our roughness map and our normal map. So for this roughness map, I'm going to click on here, select the folder again, go to Sandy Beach, and double click on my roughness map. And I'm going to connect this one after I make these changes. I'm going to ignore the rules, change it to raw. Alpha is luminous, and then out alpha. I'm going to select the specular roughness. We'll see how that looks. Okay, it's making it rougher. That's good. Now for this one, I need that utility here. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. Okay, and I need the utility, and I'm going to find my AI normal map right there, my utility. Plug that in there. Okay, and then for this map, I'm going to select it, select the folder, find the normal map, apply that to that, ignore the rules, make it raw, alpha is luminous, and then out alpha into input, oh, sorry, out color into input. Okay. And now we have our material put together. Let's see what that did to our ground. It kind of darkened everything up there. Let's go ahead and save what we have. And let's go ahead and hit play right here. And in that process, okay, so my AO has really messed up my beach color. Not looking the way I wanted it to. Alrighty, let's see here. I don't think there's going to be any difference because it's an out color, but we'll see what happens. No. Doesn't change it anything at all. Let's see here. Oh, hold it. I changed the wrong one, that's why. Got to change the, put the little ignore the rules on first, because if you don't, it will, I don't think that's going to make a difference either. Okay, so this AO map may not work the way I was hoping it would. Alright, so what an AO map is supposed to do is it's supposed to give us the kind of the shadowing effect, the way that light comes off an object. So when basically light hits an object, there is some reflecting and there's also some shadowing that comes from that object. And this map does not seem to be working the way it's supposed to for me. And, yeah. Let me try something real quick here. Nope. Should be out color, but. All right, so hopefully yours worked out. Mine is not working, and I'm not going to take your time to try to fight through this. What we're going to do instead is we're going to go ahead and put my out color directly into the base color, and so what do you know, it's not my AO map. Okay, I'm going to pause for a second, and I am going to fight with this and see if I can figure out what it's doing, and hopefully I can find out here real quick for you. Okay, I'm back. I wish I could report to you that I found some really crazy thing that I did wrong or I broke something, but all I did was just rebuild the material. I put it back the exact same way. So with the AO map, so the ambient occlusion going into A, the color map or albedo going into B, set this up as a multiply, connected it in the base color, hooked the specular roughness up, and then hooked the normal map up. And everything is exactly as it should be. So don't know what happened. The other material just broke, I guess, and that happens, of course, because I had it set up as something else, and then we went and put it in. So that could be part of the problem. I'm just grasping at straws. I'm not 100% sure. So, all right, where'd I put you? Get back here. Okay, so now I'm parking things where they don't belong. All right, so one of the things I wanted to show you with the normal map, so if I select the normal map down here, so the little normal map, AI normal map 3 node that we put in, right here it says strength, okay? And the strength is something we can play around with to adjust how much shading and the way the shading goes in so that it gives us that 3D appearance on our render here, okay? So anyway, that is pretty much it for kind of an intro to materials. There's a lot more stuff we can do. I just kind of showed you some things to kind of let you know that you can go out there, you can find textures. There's some really cool effects that you can use maps to do, and kind of introduce you a little bit to some of the maps and kind of how to connect some of them up. Even if you have some maps that don't necessarily have direct ports in Maya, you can kind of do a composite, and you can certainly take a look out there on the internet and see what some other people are doing to make these work and kind of connect them together. Again, if you like what I have been doing, please like this video. You can leave comments. If you have questions, please ask me questions. You can also visit me here at Putting on the Fritz 3D Visualization. Check out some of my other Maya projects, my Unreal Engine projects. I have a few Unity projects on there as well. So go ahead, visit, subscribe to my channel, like the video. I'll see you next time.